guys, and welcome to the 6th episode of Ride of Your Life. I had to look for confirmation there just to double check. We are here with someone I've wanted to get on for quite a while. We are here with Sam from, I don't even know how to describe it now because you're moving around. Who is that car video girl or that bike video girl on Instagram. So that gives you a little bit of an insight. But yeah, welcome to the Ride of Your Life.
Thank you.
And it's great to have you finally. And I was so excited to have you. I think we talked just before it launched as well, hadn't we?
Yeah.
To get you on. So it's been a little bit of a journey. But yeah, I think we can start by letting people know what it is you do and your story, I guess.
Yeah, cool. So, as you say, I moved around quite a bit. A lot of people, well, if you know me, I was at Carwow. And the big news is that I have left Carwow. I haven't actually announced it yet, but will be soon.
You heard it here first.
Yeah. And I'm moving over to BOTB, the dream car competitions company. They do other competitions as well, lifestyle, cash giveaways, and they do bikes as well. So yeah, they headhunted me, and it was a really, really tough decision to move over because I've been working with Matt Watson now for, coming up to 10 years because we worked at Carwow for almost 5 years together. And then we were at a company called Dennis Publishing before that. Mm-hmm. And that was Car Buyer and Auto Express. So I've been filming car reviews with Matt for a very, very long time.
Yeah.
Very, very long time. So yeah, it was really, really difficult, but yeah, time for something new, meet some new people.
It's a new chapter of your life, I guess.
Exactly, yeah.
So what got you into the car world? I know you are in bikes now, but you started off in cars. So how did that all come about?
Well, you say bikes now, but my dad is a biker.
Okay.
And he was a mechanic when I was really young as well. So we were always changing cars. He had loads of different jobs actually. He worked on boats and planes and like all kinds of different mechanical kind of jobs. But yeah, my favourite was he would come home with a different car sort of every couple of weeks and buy and sell them. And I think one story that's always really painful for me now is that he bought a 1969 Ford Mustang for about £500 and then did some work on it and sold it for 800 quid. And then that was like a great profit for him. And now you're just like, oh my God, Dad.
But it's like houses, be worth so much money. Well.
Yeah, it's crazy. But you never really know which cars are going to appreciate and stuff. But I really like the old Sierra Cosworths as well. Escort XR3Is. Ford Capri. We had so many different cars growing up, and I guess like my first kind of into sort of biking and cars was I had an off-road bike. I had a Kawasaki KX80.
Oh, so you've been riding a while as well.
Yeah, well, I kind of dabbled in it when I was young. Because I was a bit of a farm girl, so sort of grew up around horses. And
so I can kind of picture that with you as well. I wouldn't have thought it initially, but I can picture that with you.
What, the horse?
Yeah,
the
whole farm life. And
well, I just kind of moved out into countryside to Lincolnshire, where I've got a couple of retired horses there. That it's just so nice to be around them and just brings a smile to my face every day, not having the hustle and bustle of, I could have both, it's like I can come into London for work and then go out into the countryside and kind of have my little retreat. When I was 16, I had a moped. So I had a moped for a year, had a Gilera DNA 50, which kind of looked like a normal bike. It wasn't one of the...
I've not even ever heard of that before.
It's not like one of the sit on style ones. You actually kind of straddle it like you would a normal bike. Yeah. So yeah, that was my sort of like first into like biking and stuff. And honestly, the stuff I did on that ped, it was just like so scary.
Why?
Like I shouldn't have been on some of the roads that I was on.
Bit of a daredevil then.
Well, being a ped, it couldn't go super quick. You know, they're just sort of like
bees.
They can get up. I think mine could do like 45.
Yeah,
which is quite quick for a ped, but or maybe even 50 if you were going down a hill. But yeah, I'd been to badminton, and it was about 20 minutes away from my house, and I had to go on an A road for a very short space of time, but it was raining and it was dark, and I was traveling along.
End well, is it?
I was traveling and it was windy, and I was like, like that. And I could see there was this lorry coming up behind me, and I was like, oh crap, he needs to go around me. I kind of like wiggled over a little bit, and it's sort of like, I was like next to the curb, and it was like blowing me. And as this lorry's like coming around, then the car comes the other way, and I was just like, oh, for God's sake, and just like can't see, just like no fear as well. I was just kind of, like that far away, like blowing next to the curb, like, oh my God, I could just literally just go underneath this lorry right now, and it's just not good. But all of that aside, so I had a ped for a year, and then when I was 17 and could get a car, then my mum was like, get away from the bikes, to buy this car. Like, I always had to work for everything that I had, and my parents never just gave me everything. They always said, like, right, if you want something, you go out and get it. So and it was also a good excuse for my mum to be like, right, you need to sell your bike so you can afford to buy a car. They did help me a little bit getting my first car. Actually, my first car I only paid like £20 for.
Why?
So my dad was doing a job, a building job. He's had many jobs. And there's this, he did a really nice job on this guy's house, and he was really happy with it. And his wife, unfortunately, just had passed away at the time, and he had her car, a little Ford Fiesta 1993, I think it was, on an L-Reg. It was a great little car. Had just been in the garage for a while, and he wasn't using it, and he said, well, I really like the job you've done on my house. Do you want to just have this car?
Where did the 20 quid come from, though? Where did he say, like, oh, it's 20 quid? This is really odd.
So my dad, came back, with the car, and my dad's there's so many stories about my dad, but yeah,
other podcast just for you and your dad.
Yeah. So many stories. One involving a really deadly tarantula that he came home with once. But anyway, that's another story. Don't know how he got to that. But came back with a car, and he was like, I have been given this car, but I think you should just give him, some beers or something like that. And I think I had to buy a battery for it. And at the time I was just working at McDonald's, and I was working at a hotel at the same time. Oh no, I wasn't working there at the same time. I was just working at McDonald's. So yeah, I didn't have loads of money, but I could afford the £20 for the beers and the £50 for a car battery to have this car. So yeah, technically I bought the car for £20.
It's not bad luck though, is it?
Yeah. So yeah, I had that car. Didn't have it for very long, and then got my I had a 1997 Audi A4. And being 17, I was just on the back end of being 17, driving around in that car and going to car meets down the retail park in that, when everyone else is in a battered old Peugeot, was it the 106s and stuff, and the Saxos and everything that everyone used to drive. I pull up in that, and everyone's like, what the hell, granddad's car, and I was like, but I need it, I'm gonna go to uni, and I need to put my stuff in the car. It was an amazing car. I did love it, and it was in green as well, which is my favorite color. Great gearbox. Love the Audi so much.
So it sounds like the early years of your life, you were already preparing for a career in cars and automotive, I think, without knowing it.
Yeah, so I have a couple of really strong idols in my life, and that's my dad and my uncle as well. So my uncle, whenever I was young and like I'd call him up and he would be traveling the world somewhere, you know, I'd call him and he'd answer the phone. You'd hear like some sort of elephant or something in the background. He'd be like, oh, hey, hun. Yeah, I'm just in Thailand at the moment filming these elephants, you know, being released back into the wild after being rescued and, you know, all of this kind of stuff. Or you call him again and he's like, oh, yeah, just down the football stadium. You know, like people shouting in the background. Yeah, just filming some, you know, football
What
or
did he
sports
do?
or something. He was a freelance cameraman.
Oh, okay. There we
So-
go. It's all coming together now. Cars
Yeah.
from your dad and the camera side from your uncle. Now it's coming together.
Yeah, so it was exactly right. Yeah, so I had the inspiration for filming from my uncle, and then the inspiration for sort of the mechanical side of things from my dad. So yeah, but I was always like, you know, at school, I didn't really enjoy school. There wasn't really, you know, anything specific for that kind of art of camera operating. And
especially in school. Did you study it in uni then? Did you go off to uni to
so
study it?
I went to college to go and study it, but I'm so grateful for having my parents in my life, you know, very supportive and encouraging parents that sort of guided me into the career, because I knew what I wanted to do, but there wasn't a lot of support from, you know, like teachers and stuff like that to then, you know, and there's just not
it's strange because in schools they have it like it's creative and they have the classes for it, but they're so structured. It's so strange because it's almost like, oh, here's a creative arts subject, but then you have to follow this spec and it's not creative at all.
Yeah.
And we're going to grade your work. And it just doesn't seem right.
Yeah.
Because I studied digital mixed media, so like Photoshop and all of the Adobe suite. But I didn't go off to uni to study anymore because I felt that there wasn't any point, due to the whole fact that it was just the grading system and they wanted me to create something that would fit in their box of what creativity was. So did you go off to uni, or was it just college that you did? Or
Yeah, so I eventually went off to university as well. As I say, like without the support of my parents, like I wouldn't have got there, because I remember on my careers day at secondary school, the head teacher there, it was the head teacher, me and my mum, and they sit you down and they say, oh, okay, what do you want to be when you grow up? You know, what are you going to move on to next? And I sat there and, you know, with glee was like, I want to be a camera operator. And he's just like, well, you're never going to do that.
really?
Yeah.
Did they actually say that to you?
And my mum sat there and she went, don't you dare say that. Don't say that to my daughter. Like, you know, it's just sort
the
of like
audacity.
I know, it's just like, you know, you kind of should be encouraging the children to follow their passions and, you know, to what's the next step, you know, go to college, because I did end up going to a college that was only 15 minutes away, you know, from where I lived, doing a specific course in TV and media production. So it's like, well, why didn't you make that suggestion rather than say, well, you'll never do that. I don't know whether sometimes it's on purpose, like whether, you know, some people might say that to give you even more fire, but I don't know. I would say I'd much prefer if people be supportive.
Yeah, because I had a similar experience. Thankfully, my mum was in the arts. She was not a teacher, but she had a life in graphics, digital mixed media. She did product design with Cadbury's milk tray, and she'd done quite a lot in that sphere anyway. But I studied digital media and business. But then I was always doing things my own way, so my attendance in college was very bad, and school, to be fair, because I'd always go out and just do different things. And I would get, oh, you know, you're not going to be successful like that. Oh yeah, what's realistic for you to do? And it'd be kind of like, well, it's realistic for me to be going and pursuing the things I want to pursue. And I did. I set up two really good businesses, and then just decided to follow a different path as I got older. But it wasn't really helpful with my teachers until eventually I went back and they were like, oh, our success story. And I was like, now you say I am.
Yeah.
But no, it's you've paved quite a way for yourself in like now you're in Carwow, and well, now you've just finished your time at Carwow, but how did you grow with that channel, or what was it? Did you start at the very beginning, or how was that journey?
What do you mean?
So when you joined Carwow, was it when it was at the very beginning? How did you join into that and grow with it?
Yeah, sure. So as I mentioned, we've sort of covered school, going to college, and then went on to uni. So I went to Falmouth University and I did digital media there. When I first applied, it was broadcasting.
Mm-hmm.
So I had the passion that I was going to go into television because that's where my uncle was, and so I applied for the broadcasting course there. And I think it was sort of halfway through the application process of that course, they changed it to digital media, which I'm really glad that they did, because then the path just kind of, the media industry really changed at that point, I think, from, Netflix and YouTube and, Amazon Prime, all those kind of online platforms were now, starting to take shape over television, and television's kind of slowly dying, I think, in a way, as lots of people are getting their content online. So after university, studying there for 3 years, digital media, then it was really hard to get my first job in media, and I think I was applying. I keep on the microphone. I keep hearing it.
It's ASMR. It's fine.
Sorry, guys. I'll try and go side on. Where was I? First job in media. Yeah, I think I probably sent out, how many applications a day for like 3 months, trying to get my in to the industry. And it's not, anything on being female or male. I think it's just like literally it is so hard to get into the media industry. And I finally got an interview over Skype, and I had that, and I was going to be a camera assistant. And on my way to the sort of the intro and sort of see them and what kit we were using and go through the script and stuff like that, I had a puncture in my wheel on my car, my tire, and I was like, oh my god, really? My first break, like this is my break.
Yeah, Murphy's Law, everything that can go wrong will go wrong.
But this is why I absolutely love this story, and some people, listening may have heard me tell this story before, and it makes you, I'm one of these people that really likes to focus on the positives from everything. And even if something seems like a negative or a bad thing at the time, then you can always turn it around. There's always something good that comes out of it, because if I hadn't have had that puncture in my tire, then I wouldn't have then gone on to my next job, which was I worked on a film set for 6 weeks, I think it was. It was a low budget feature film.
So you didn't get to that other job because
I didn't get there.
Oh, because of the puncture.
Never got there. But if it hadn't have happened,
then
I wouldn't have got the next one, and that wouldn't have led on to then, my path of, the experiences that I've had. So no regrets. I think I like to live life that way. At the time, like, I thought, oh my god, really?
It is a really good lesson, because I find that a lot, even in the world when we're working, when we started to go out looking for clients and really wanting a job, sometimes they wouldn't come into fruition. And at the time it was continuous knockbacks for a good 4 or 5 months, and I was just exhausted. But then it led to different projects which I was like, actually this is amazing, and also that put a drive in me to want to do so much more, because it hadn't been plain sailing. So I do think that's a massive lesson. With everything that seems negative or hard, you learn things. It's not always the clearest when you're in and amongst it, but when you've got a good few months away from it, I think with anything in life, relationships, friendships, everything, I look back and think, because I remember looking back at some relationships thinking, this is the person I'm supposed to be with. It didn't work out. And I'm now thinking, thank God, because you find something so much better that fits you as you grow.
Yeah, I think success isn't easy.
It's never linear.
Yeah, and I think sometimes when, you know, people see other people in a certain position and they're just like, oh, you're so lucky where you are. And it's like,
they
mate,
don't realise how much failure comes with that. And
yeah.
I often think success is just multiple failures. Because like I said, I've had quite a few businesses. I had one in shoe design. I had a shoe company. Then I had a media company, and I managed dancers and singers and artists. Did that really well for a little while, but then I gave that up. I was just like, that this doesn't fit me. But there was just so much failure amongst it, and no to so many different doors, and you just keep knocking at them to hopefully one would open. But then you learn to just let things go over your head as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think
it's recognizing as well when something's not right for you, then it's time to make a change.
Yeah.
If you can't see yourself progressing, and you know, one of the reasons why, you know, it was a really hard decision, but now it's time to move on, because, you know, I felt like I was doing the same thing, and, you know, I want a new challenge, something different to challenge me to further success, hopefully. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have been able to achieve that, I think, without Matt Watson. So sort of going back to the story of, you know, uni, and then I worked on the low budget feature. And then I got my job with Dennis Publishing, where Matt was the presenter. And I was 21, so I was super, super fresh. And moved to London from the countryside. I'm from such a small town, you know, and a farmer, you know, at one time. So yeah, it was a big change for me. Getting the tube and, you know, being around a lot of people.
I have the worst story when it comes to tubes. When I moved to London, I'd only taken a bus once, and I thought Monopoly was the tube system. So you know how they have like Fleet Street and Strand, and
yeah,
I thought there was a red line and a purple line. Oh my God, I was so
kind of.
Yeah, but they're not the Monopoly ones.
No.
So I was so confused. I was like, I need to go to Mayfair on the purple line. There was no purple line for Mayfair. It was like, I was so confused. Wow, that was just an awful. But yeah, coming to London.
Mayfair actually is on the dark blue one, which is actually the colour of it on Monopoly. I think, correct me.
I would have thought.
No, wait, no.
District line for me would have been where Mayfair would have been because of the colour. No,
Mayfair. I'm getting it wrong now. Yeah. I'm thinking of Monopoly colours because dark blue is Piccadilly line, and there's no way Mayfair's on the Piccadilly line.
I was confused. So I was looking at it like, where's Angel, Old Street, and all of them? Like I was looking at the colour. And I was just so confused. And I was like, there's way more stations here than there is on Monopoly. I was just so confused. I got so lost in London. But yeah, sorry, carry on.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, I was working, I don't know if you know, like, well, Oxford Street, like the BT Tower. Yeah. So I was working around there. That's where our old offices were. And so, yeah, really busy part, central London, you know, and I was driving cars in and out of London as well for
Did you
work.
not find that exhausting, though? Because I find going into London, the energy of London, it's electric, but it's also exhausting.
Yeah, I think my exhaustion didn't come until later on.
Yeah.
When I was young and... you know, it was all very new, and yeah, I was all right, and I didn't have as much responsibility as I have now, you know, in my roles I have now. So my hours were a lot less, you know, but I was paid a lot less then as well. But yeah, I mean, actually getting into work in London is really difficult, especially if you don't already live there, because a lot of employers are looking for a London address, and so they want you to be able to commute basically and to work easily, but they also want to pay you all money. So yeah, it's really, really hard. And, you know, I would stay with other people to be able to, you know, afford to not be paid
that much.
And some jobs as well, a lot of people in the media industry and a lot of people that I know as well would do freelance work and wouldn't, you know, you wouldn't get any money. You know, you just get your fuel expenses paid, you know, maybe you get fed, sort of thing. And it's just for the experience, because it's such an oversaturated, you know,
and then there
industry.
is those people that do a lot for nothing, and sometimes people just be like, oh yeah, well, we'll go for them instead of paying these people to do it. It's a tough one.
It's really, really difficult, but, you know, and yeah, you will get setbacks, but always look forward and keep going, never give up. Like, I think that's the only advice I would give, is just sort of like, whatever anyone says, or, you know, like, even if it hurts and, you know, it's hard to get back up again, or you don't get your break that day, or, you know, just keep going, and, you know, eventually you will get there. But yeah, so met Matt at Dennis Publishing. Sorry, I tell stories in such a roundabout way.
You've got a very linear line of, like, you managed to get back there.
I jump around.
You're better than me. I would never. I go off on tangents and I completely forget what the story was.
Lost.
I'm like, so this is my life story. But then I went to this country and there was an elephant, and then I'll start talking about elephants. I'll be so confused. But no, you're doing a really good job.
So we met Matt. Met Matt. I mean, I'm only one person. I don't know why I said we. So I met Matt.
You and the voices.
Yeah. What they do say, us creatives are a little bit weird.
So we met Matt. You and
my
your
other persona.
Entourage in your mind.
Well, if you believe in star signs, I am a Gemini. So, you know.
So definitely,
there's two
we
of
met
me.
Matt.
Yeah, we met Matt. So I think it was 2012 when I started there, and Matt, he's such a nightmare. He won't mind me saying. Like, we've had some ups and downs for sure, an absolute roller coaster of a journey, like some ridiculous times. I mean, he's such a crazy character. Some of the places we've been and things that we've got up to, it's hilarious looking back. And just like, right, Sam, get over there. Yeah, that's it, that's the shot. And I'd be like, but I'm all cricked up, like, and he's like, yeah, no, look, it looks great. And then he would sort of like, you know, take ages to do the take as well, like keep coming in and be like, no, it's not right. And then we've got some stories, but I'm really fortunate that, you know, when he moved over to Carwow and then I came over sort of shortly after, that when I first started at Carwow, I was just in the same role. I was a camera operator and video editor, like I was at Dennis. And then the producer sort of decided he was going to move to America. Very nice. And I thought, oh, this is an opportunity for some more money. Maybe not exactly the job that I wanted to do, because I wanted to be a camera operator, but I thought, some more money would be nice. Living in London isn't cheap.
Yeah, certainly not.
So I was like, right, I'm gonna go for that job. And I remember sort of having a chat with Matt, because we knew each other quite well after working together for a little while. And he was like, so who do you think we should hire? And it was a conversation about us hiring somebody in. And I just said, what about me? And then he was like, a bit shocked, like, oh, I wasn't expecting
you to put yourself forward,
that.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it just kind of was off the back of that, of me saying, well, I'll give it a go, you know, and what have you got to lose? Like, if it doesn't work out, then I'll just carry on.
Yeah, you can always.
So yeah, I ended up moving from camera operator editor into producer role, and I did that for a couple of years and was headhunted before by another company, and it was very similar to what we were doing at the time. So I thought, well, it's not the right time for me. The offer was really nice. Really appreciated it, and but yeah, so I ended up carrying on with Carwow, and moved into directing as well. And I think that's nice when you're approached by another company, and then if your current company adapts, and then you can grow even further. It kind of gives you this sense of like value in yourself, and I think it's very confidence inspiring when you're approached by somebody to go and work somewhere. And I wasn't looking, again now with my current move to BOTB, I wasn't looking to move. I was very happy. That sort of exhaustion that we touched upon earlier, I was getting quite I was pretty exhausted with the hours I was putting at Carwow to achieve the success that we did. I mean, #1 YouTube channel in the world for car content was not easy, and especially during...
Was it highly pressured then, or what would you say was like the environment like for you?
I think I brought a lot of pressure on myself. So Matt was my manager, and I mean, once we figured out kind of a system with each other and a working relationship, then we were just on fire. Like he had the ideas, and then I put them into action.
I think that's a nice thing about working with someone that you've built confidence with over a number of years. You can start to be creative in a judgment-free zone, and you can kind of just expand your skill set instead of feeling that you need to prove something or feeling negatively if it goes wrong. You can just learn to grow, I guess, in a healthy environment. So that probably really helped.
Yeah.
But so what encouraged your move to BOTB?
So it was really hard, and like I still haven't had my cry yet. And I feel really emotional about it, like...
I think because you're still in the transition.
I still am in the transition, yeah. So I left Carwow. Well, I had my leaving due a couple of days ago. And then I don't start my new role until, well, it's like 2 or 3 days from now. So I'm in between jobs.
Yeah, so you're like in that sweet spot of like, oh, what's happening?
Yeah. I'm just sort of... I guess as well, I had, I've been working 3 months notice period as well. So it's been a pretty long time to wait to move over. And I've just kind of felt, disconnected anyway with the world right now, 2021, in 2020.
There's a lot of change, a lot of...
I don't even need to say the C word. Everyone knows. Everyone knows, how much... that's impacted so many people's lives. And
but with Carwow, it seems like you're growing so much, the channel's huge. What would have encouraged you to switch, and what would have, because it seemed like you can get very comfortable, I guess, because you're at the top of your game with the channel wise. You're already got the platform, the pedestal. What would make you, because BOTB is still big, it's still well recognized, but what would make you say, okay, I'm going to go from here to here? What did you feel that you wanted to grow or expand on? Or
so exactly, like, not only was it hard to leave the success behind of what we've achieved, but the people as well, the working relationships that I've created there, but yet I just felt like something I can grow myself, my name attached to it, because although Matt and I have grown it together, it's very much, I don't feel in Matt's shadow, but a little bit, just he's never ever put me in the shadows. Like whenever we we won a couple of awards a couple of years ago, AOP awards as well. So yeah, I mean, I was so grateful that he was very inclusive of and you know, gave the recognition to me and to the team, and also, you know, he didn't want to keep his knowledge to himself. Like, he wanted to grow the skills, like my skills, and the skills of the team as well, to help us understand, you know, what makes the videos good.
Yeah.
You know,
I think there's the element of, we mentioned before this conversation, how sometimes you don't intend to be seen in someone's shadow, or especially a male-female duo, but it's almost more currently recognized that, we're here to see the man in charge. You were saying that earlier.
yeah.
So was that part of like the inspiration for you to move around, or like, did that affect you in any way?
I don't know whether it was one of the motivating factors. I guess to give a bit of background on what you were saying, like, you know, in my role, I have, you know, producer director. I've had a couple of times, you know, people think that, you know, Matt's my partner, and that's why, you know, I've got this job.
You're the tag along.
Yeah. And some people just see me as the 3-2-1 girl,
Mm-hmm.
and don't know about the behind the scenes. You know, that literally I'd organised all the people there and all the cars and what everyone was doing and what shots we were doing. More recently on the TV ad shoot that I was on and directing, and the DOP said, I need to speak to the man in charge. And then he turned and looked at me and was like, you. And I was like, you know, just kind of shrugged it off, like, don't worry about it, mate. Like,
Yeah, they don't mean it in a bad way, but
yeah,
it's just,
I can tell. And that's the thing. I think it's about, you know, how you react to something like that, because, you know, I could have taken it really badly, you know, and thought, well, you know, you should respect the position I'm in and stuff. But I respect the fact that, you know, women in this industry are still the minority.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the majority is male, and, you know, looking at the statistics of, you know, gender of who enjoys the type of content we produce,
it's more male.
it's
dominated.
like at least 90%.
Yeah.
If it's cars, it's like at least at least 90% males. So, you know, yeah. And I don't know whether that's because of interest or because women don't feel like they can, but you can.
Yeah.
You can, like, male, female, whatever.
It's
like,
just an
you
interest,
can.
isn't it?
Yeah.
I suppose I found that a lot. We got headhunted a few times, myself and Shaz, and just because sometimes I wasn't there physically holding a camera, they couldn't understand why I was there, and they hadn't understood that night I was listening to the track, organising the sets, organising the locations, how it was going to be shot, the perspectives, the details, and there's a lot that goes into that, and it's exhausting in itself. But because it did get to me personally, about one or two situations got to me, but I feel that it's, as I'm getting more into the industry, it's so much more recognised that women are in it now. And I think the other time was I walked up with Shaz into an event, and the guy goes, "Oh, so you brought your own model?" I said, "No, hi, I'm his business partner." I was like, "Oh, this is cringy." Like, but you know, you learn a lot, and I think when that there is that minority, you do feel that you want to push yourself more, and it does inspire you more to know what you're doing, to learn more. But also you become more of a community player, because when I see other women like yourself in this industry, we gel together, we want to chat about the stories, about the work and expanding the work. So that must have been like a driving factor for you to just go and expand your name, like you're saying, you're going to build on your name.
Yeah.
And that through BOTB as well.
Yeah.
So How does it feel then to be going solo? Like, you've grown with Matt. I know for me, if I was to separate with Shaz from in a business perspective, I'd be like a bit quivery because I'd be like, oh my God, I'm doing this on my own. But I guess you still have the connection and the friendship. So what is that going to be like when you go to BOTB?
To be honest, like, I don't know. And that's what I love about it. You know, I don't know how I'm going to feel in the next hour.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a very spontaneous type of person. And I'm very much like a yes person as well. Like, you know, back when I was working with Matt, and he'd be like, do you fancy going to China next month? And I'd be like, yeah, go on then. Can we get visas sorted in time? Yeah, it'll be fine. And honestly, that story of like us going to China and me going, yeah, let's go to China like in a couple of weeks. And then honestly, I picked up my visa, my passport, the day I flew to China. It was just like, oh my God, that was tight. Like,
we did the exact same thing with Bali, 2020.
yeah.
We found out the week of going to Bali. We hadn't booked it. It's like the 1st of January, and we left on like the 8th. The 8th or 9th of the 8th, because my birthday was on the 9th. So it was just like, oh, we're going to Bali. And I was like, we haven't booked it yet. 3rd, I think we finalised the booking. We're like, oh, it's actually happening. But that spontaneity is really fun to have, especially in the YouTube world, the creative industries, the automotive world. But what did you do out in China?
We went to go and film the Shanghai Motor Show.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, it was. I went out a couple of days beforehand as well, just to have like a little bit of a holiday in Shanghai, like, you know, before Matt got there to do the filming. And I ended up catching a terrible flu on my first night there, and I hadn't slept, you know, for ages. I'd eaten chicken feet unwillingly.
Oh God, what do you mean unwillingly?
Not unwillingly, but like it was a bit of a mistake. Like I hadn't slept for like 36 hours. I really struggled to sleep on the plane and stuff. And I got there and I was so tired.
Chicken feet.
And I got to the restaurant in the kind of hotel that I was staying in, and I was on my own, and I had like my camera gear and everything, and I was just like, oh my God, I'm absolutely ruined. And then I'd not been to China before, and I didn't realise, but they didn't speak English as much as I was expecting them to. And the waitress didn't speak English at all. She used a translator. And we were trying to communicate, and I was trying to ask her, because there was like no pictures on there. And it was all in Chinese. And, you know, I was trying to say like, sweet and sour chicken or something that I was like used to, you know, just like noodles, anything, you know, something plain that's not plain food, like literally plain, you know, flying plain food, because that's terrible and made me feel ill. So I'm like, I'm starving, I'm tired, I don't know where I am or what day it is. And yeah, we were just like trying to communicate, and I think I typed something to her and went like that, and then just then she sort of went like that, and I was like, oh, it's not funny, I'm asking you. Like, and she gave it back to me, and it played it in English. Your father is a DJ, and I was like, this is not going well at all. So I just kind of was like pointing at stuff and going, thumb up, like, yeah, that's good, yeah, you would reckon. Cool, yeah, all right, yeah, I'll order that. So I ordered about 4 dishes, hoping that one of them would be okay. And when one of them turned up and it was chicken feet, and I was like, oh, and she was pointing at it like, very nice, so, you know, like this is good. This is a delicacy, you know, in China, sort of thing. And yeah, so I sort of picked it up while she was watching, like, go for the toe. And
oh God.
Yeah, I know. I'm pretty sure Shaz sitting in here is a vegan, so he's hating this story. And yeah, and I tried it, and it's very crunchy. The sauce was quite nice that it was in, but
I think that's the fun thing about. So when we were in Bali, speaking of Shaz, we went up to the front desk, and I was like, he's a vegan, and they're like, oh, vegan, he doesn't eat onions. I was like, no, meat. And then the guy in the cab goes, yeah, there's some vegans that don't even eat meat. I was like, yeah, that's him. He was like, oh, but you eat onions. I was like, I'm so
Vegetables
confused.
is a tick. Like, yes to vegetables.
Because vegan means something completely different in Bali.
Oh,
And you
really?
just think, so even if the word translate, the meanings are just so different. But yeah, no, it's. I think that's the confusion with if I was to go to China, because you can kind of guess words in Europe and in other languages because you can kind of see them. You just don't know, and I'd be like so lost. I don't know how we'd go to China, would we? Just stuck.
I do feel a bit like a rubbish person though, like being English, and then, you know, if I go to countries, I do normally try and learn a few words, but trying to ask for certain things on a menu was just like completely out of. I mean, it's not like saying hello.
Yeah.
You know, I was sort of like hello. You know, I was saying ni hao. But yeah, this is just sort of another world, honestly, and having like barely any sleep and being in that country and it being daytime and I'd left at night or whatever and just being like so spaced out and then just sort of like chicken feet. I was like, what is going on?
Kind of just go for it, don't you? Just make do.
I ended up going out that first night I got there as well after having a bit of a sleep after the chicken feet, like in the day. I was awake and I was like,
well, it cured you then, didn't it?
I wasn't feeling great. I was like, a bit of a headache and stuff, but I'm going to go out anyway. And then I bumped into the Red Bull racing team while I was out, like ended up in the top floor of this bar somewhere. I don't know how I get this kind of stories, but I told you I'm a yes person. And, you know, most of the time it's like, yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah, I'll see you there in a second.
And then figure it out later, like, Mum, can you look after the dog and that? Yeah, cool, great. You know, and then just shoot off. But
what is your craziest then? Craziest or most exciting highlight of working at Carwow?
Oh, being the best YouTube channel for car content in the world. That I don't even think that's understood. And I think as well, so I think our biggest month, 75 million views in a month. And we were always chasing Top Gear as well. And to surpass them, that was a great success. And we were always striving for more and more and more. And I've certainly sort of like ended on a bang there. I mean, we hit #1 on trending on YouTube.
Yeah, wow.
With our Formula One versus Bugatti Chiron, for which I arranged the Chiron to be there. So I was still kind of a part of it right up until the end. So yeah, to get to that point, but I feel like there's always a sort of end, a natural end for anything. And yeah, it felt like I had achieved such great things there, but I wasn't sure what more I could do there. Yeah. So it was just time to make the change, and it might be wrong. It might not work out.
I don't think you can be wrong. I think you'll go, you'll learn what you need to learn.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, I'm looking forward to it. The ups and downs, the mistakes, and taking risks and having new challenges. I think that's what excites me.
So what would you say is the most challenging thing that you've experienced, or something that's tested you within working within your career at Carwow? I'm stumbling on my words now. Thinking of chicken feet still.
My most challenging thing, I would say, being a manager, because with moving into the producer role was being a manager of the team as well. And at the time it was just me and Jack, who's actually my successor, by the way. He's now head of video at Carwow. And I'm really excited for him, actually. I'm really happy. And that's another reason why I'm happy I'm moving on. Because it now means that there's that
created space. Yeah.
It's that space for now that everyone that was, you know, sort of below me before now has the chance to move into.
It's almost like paying it forward, isn't it?
Role.
You create that
exactly,
space.
yeah. Because otherwise, you know, it would just kind of the cycle would keep going, and they would leave and someone else would come in. But yeah, no, I'm really happy for him having that role. So I would say, yeah, the most challenging thing was to be a manager, and I didn't really want to.
Yeah.
At the time, it was only me and Jack, so I was only managing Jack. Yeah, when I first started, Jack and I were on the same sort of playing field, basically doing the same role, and we were sort of developing a bit of a friendship. And then when you move into a manager role and you have to manage somebody, it's like, okay, then you can't be friends anymore. You know,
it creates a different dynamic, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. And obviously the hiring and firing and along the way, you know, it's, as much as there's a lot of times I didn't like, there's a lot of experience and good times as well, you know. Hiring, so my team at the moment, again, it's really hard to leave them behind and move forward to a new role, to a new company, particularly, you know, Sam and Lewis. You know, I've been working with them for a really long time now. Lewis, especially, when, you know, he first joined, and I trained him quite a bit with editing. We had some very late nights in the office. And I think, again, that's where the exhaustion came from, and putting the pressure on myself, because, you know, I wanted Carwow to be successful. I was very passionate about the brand and wanted to grow not only, you know, the company as well, but for myself. I wanted to grow my skills and always, you know, and be a part of something that was big.
Well, you have, haven't you? You've got hit top rankings there, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean, and, you know, Matt as well, he had the same kind of drive. So me and him together was just sort of like dream team.
Match made in heaven.
Yeah, yeah.
So what's inspired you then to get a bike again now? Because that's quite a...
Back to the bikes.
Yeah, it's quite... Because I was just thinking in my head, you've done Carwow and you've been surrounded by cars. What has influenced? Because you've just got a bike recently, haven't you?
Yeah, we haven't even covered the bikes yet.
I feel like...
Ride of your life, you know, and you know, we've spoken about the cars more.
But you know what? The name of Ride of Your Life, I thought of it in the shower, because it applies to everything.
Great ideas happen in the shower.
Yeah, I just feel it applies to everything. Like when you're going through a wacky day, you're in the ride of your life. A good day, bad day, sideways day.
Meeting Red Bull in the bar in the top of China after eating chicken feet and not sleeping for 2 days. Yeah. It's like definitely a ride, isn't it?
Yeah, every day I think all these experiences are rides. So it's not even designated for bikers, but I feel that because I went into the bike world, it resonated with me more. But you happen to be going now going more into the bike world. So what triggered that? Yeah,
so about, I think it was about 3 years ago, I decided I was going to get my big bike license. And my mum was like very against it. She really didn't like it.
As they are.
Yeah, she really didn't want me to get back into bikes again. She was like, "What are you doing it for?" And I was like, "I just want to have the skill. Honestly, I'm not even going to buy a bike."
3 years later.
Yeah. So, I mean, I had a bike before this one as well.
Okay.
So I did my test, and I would really like to actually talk about, just very quickly, a story there. You know, so I went on my own, and I was with a group of guys, and they were like, "Has anybody really ridden before?" And I was like, I did ride a ped once, you know. And everyone else was like, "Nah, not really." Nah. And then they sort of took us into the little training pad area, and on a 125, because I said I wanted to do gear bike and stuff, because I wanted to progress, do my big bike license, so I had to redo my CBT, obviously. And so there I was, and I couldn't even pull away because the clutch was so far away and really heavy, and my hands aren't massive, you know, and I was struggling to sort of like keep the revs up and get the bite point without dropping it, you know, dropping the clutch. So I mean, the guy that I had, you know, the other boys sort of picked it up really quickly, And the guy was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, but we're gonna go out on the road without you, and just leave me behind." And like, you haven't really got it, have you? And I was like, "No, okay, that's fair." So as I sort of like went back to the office, like, "Oh well, I'll just wait then." Sort of like helmet in hand, like, "Oh, I failed." This ex police guy came out, another instructor, and he said, "I'm going to be doing some mod 1 training in a minute with this guy over here, like just a 1-to-1.
Yeah.
Do you want to do you want some help and get you back on, basically, see if we can get you riding around." And so he got me riding the 125 absolutely fine, within like 5 minutes. I was just kind of cruising around doing loops, and then came back. And on one of the times I came back around, he rolled out a Kawasaki 550, can't remember which model it was, but it looked like a big bike. I was like, wow. He was like, "Yeah, you get on this," and I was like,
"Me? How?"
I was like, are you sure? Are you sure? And he was like, yeah. Like, you're going to be better on it because the clutch is much nicer. It's smoother, much tighter to you. It's smoother. And the bike you can pull away literally on the idle. So, like, you don't need to rep the tits off of it to get it to go. So, yeah, I got on it. And as soon as I got on it, I was just like, wow, this is so comfortable. And all the guys are still out on their little twist and goes and stuff on the road. And, I sort of rode that around a couple of times, and then he saw I got confident on that and I was good with it. And then he rolled out 650 CVF, I think it was, the Honda CVF. And I was like, oh, again, like, are you sure? Like, oh, okay, so I got on it and then got confident on that. And then he was like, "Come and join us doing the mod 1 training." So then I started doing the, like the U-turns and the really tight turns on it. All the guys came back from their little ride out on the peds and saw me doing mod 1 stuff on it, and was just sort of like, that cartoon face where they like the mouth drop. And was just like, "Yeah, you're right, guys. Yeah, just,
It's a confidence game, isn't it? I think the more you're confident, it's a lot smoother. The CCs matter less.
Yeah, I think. So I'm really, really glad that that he was there, the instructor, to give me that training. And obviously, I didn't pass my CBT that day. I did 2 days of CBT, but I did my CBT on a big bike rather than doing it on a twist and go or a 125, because it wouldn't make any sense to do that backwards when I wanted to progress. So I passed my test after the 2 days of training, the CBT, and then I did my mod 1, passed first time, passed mod 2 as well first time, which was great. I was really, really scared, especially like the ones where, I think it's the mod 1 where you have to like go really fast and then do the emergency stops and stuff in, when you do them in the pad, in the training bit. And I was quite nervous, but I managed to do it. So I did that, and then I had another MT. So I had a Yamaha MT-07. So I've currently got the MT-09. But I had the MT-07 before, so I had that for about a year, but I barely rode it because I didn't know anybody. I was living on my own in Milton Keynes, and it was lockdowns as well, so it's just like, well, how can I really meet anybody? And I'd have to wear a mask if I like pulled over somewhere to, at bike shops and stuff. But I didn't really have the confidence to kind of meet people. And when I became sort of single again, and I was moving house, so I sold my MT-07, and then when I was looking sort of for my next relationship, then I was like, he has to be a biker, has to be,
voila,
and there we go. And like,
So is it just something that you're going to? Do you have a like anything you want to do career wise with it, or is it just something you want to experience for yourself?
So, like, career wise, probably not. It's just kind of a just for fun thing for me. But I absolutely love learning new skills. So I want to like wheelies and, you know, do all that kind of
Haha,
stuff.
way ahead of you there. It might have been a fluke, but managed to wheelie my bike.
Yeah. So I've had the wheel up on my 09, but I had the traction fully on.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm so glad for traction control, like on new bikes, because, you know, I'm kind of ballsy in a really weird way. Like, I'm really crap. You know, I don't care. But like I think like some people might see me on the road and just look at me and be like, oh my God, she's gonna die. Like some of the stuff I've done, like honestly, like just by accident, you know, and like drop the clutch out too quick and put loads of like power on the back wheel and it's all sketching around and I'm just like, it's all right, you know, it's still upright, so we're all good. But yeah, I was at the airfield the other day on a Carwow shoot and yeah, I didn't know, but I opened it up like full throttle in like first and second gear.
Oh God.
Honestly, that like, I'm so glad. So glad for traction control. Thank you, Yamaha. Thank you for saving my life. But yeah, the wheel came up and then like it cut the power and like put the wheel back down again.
God.
And then I literally did the same thing again. I think I was in second gear and popped the wheel up again and I was like, yeah, maybe I need to go up a gear. Yeah, cool. But yeah, oh my God, that bike, it's
You sound so sketch.
I am very
sketch. Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't do that on the road. But yeah, I mean, I have had some wobbly moments, but I'm not.
But I think that's the best way to learn. Like,
I'm not ashamed of them.
honestly.
Like, I really don't mind. Like, and especially when I've got my boyfriend in my ears, like, you ride that clutch, and I'm just sort of like, nee, like as I'm like sort of like pulling away because I was like on a hill and I didn't want to stall it, so I sort of like really let the clutch out slowly, like, you know, but I had the revs really high and it was like, yeah, okay, I deserve that. But yeah, we just have an absolute laugh.
So before we wrap up, because I feel like I could go on because I feel we've got into such a good flow now as well.
We've only just started.
I know. I can't believe we've been yapping on for like an hour.
Yeah, we're going to have to cut that down. There's a lot of rubbish in there.
No. Shaz has got his work cut out for him. But so I have a piece of advice. A lot of people on here want to create lives with their passions like cars and bikes. You being in and amongst a massive YouTube channel, what would you say is a good piece of advice that you would give to people that are starting their channels or in and amongst their channels, or just musing about actually creating a channel? What would you say is good advice?
Don't give up. That's it. Like, just keep going and try new things as well. Don't be afraid of failure. It's not failure. Like, you need to go through a lot of mistakes before you understand what success looks like. But I would say just like, yeah, just keep making sure that, I mean, if it's YouTube especially, just make sure that your audience are engaging with it and enjoying it. And if they're not, change your strategy up, do something different.
In the automotive world, is there anything in particular that you would suggest? Tactics wise, strategy wise, engagement wise?
I guess like you've got to do a lot of jobs before you and I actually had a lot of jobs that I would do on the side as well. So like I would go and film in my own time, like little bits, projects that I wanted to do, just to sort of like keep up that creativity if I wasn't doing it where I was. But I would say, yeah, just keep learning, research, do some courses if you think you need to, you know, like YouTube strategy courses, audience analytics. camera courses if you need to do that, study. But yeah, if you've got a passion, just make sure you follow it. And you're gonna have people along the way tell you that you can't do it for one reason or another. And just stay strong, keep going, create a good support network. I'm sure Sally will say the same, that if there's anyone out there and looking to get into the industry that you're in or I'm in, and what we do, and want any advice, like just chat to us, message us on Instagram.
Yeah, it would be good here to announce what to kind of say what your Instagram is or which way, because I know you have two.
Yeah.
Which one would you prefer people to contact you on?
Yeah, so I only just started my bike one, because I started posting bike stuff on the car one, and it was like, I don't think the car people really like the bike stuff. So so if it's about cars, then it's that car video girl, and then if it's about bikes, then it's that bike video girl. So hopefully
I'll put them in description as well and have that there.
But yeah, anytime, like honestly, any questions, I always respond to people. Just let me know what you're up to.
And you're quite funny, because I'm always tagged in something funny from you. And when I check my phone, I'm like, oh look, that's so true, but it's so funny. But
yeah,
I find you really relatable, and
thank you,
because you've had such a vast career already in the automotive world. It's, if people are looking to do that, then they should absolutely reach out to you to grow and just build a network that way. Yeah,
I've had some great conversations already. One that really springs to mind is Big Boy Trev. He's one of my favorites. He's a guy in Kenya who's doing a YouTube channel, and he came to me for advice once, and we've had some chats, gave him some advice on his videos and his style and stuff. He's such a great guy.
I ask you for advice on these as well. I message you, I'm like, what do you think? What could I do better? What could I do here? And you're like, well, this and this. And but
But like, I also think, there's only so much critique that I think you should give a person. I don't think you should be too negative on some things, because they're only gonna
it's a journey,
understand it and grow themselves anyway. So there might be a few technical things or whatever, but the next time they're all smoothed out and they're all done, and you did it yourself. You didn't even need somebody breathing over your shoulder saying, do it like this, do it like that. You need that space to do some stuff on your own as well and figure those things out. So yeah, definitely though, if any advice at all, anyone, I love speaking to people that are passionate about, cars or filming, especially, just in general, really, meeting other passionate people. It's really nice. So I like that, Instagram kind of gives that platform to do that, and that kind of bit more personal, less formal,
personal touch,
way. Yeah.
It's been amazing having you on. We've had a really nice day, and I'm gonna probably catch up with you again when you're at BOTB, see how that settles in, and maybe have you again on if people have other things to ask, because it'll be a different growth in your industry and in yourself as well. But
sure.
Thank you so much for coming on, and I can't wait till this gets released. And if you enjoyed today, please like, share, subscribe, and contact Sam on Instagram. Have a look at Carwow's channel and BOTB.
Look out, here we come.
See if Sam is the magic ingredient in that, for growing that as well. So thank you guys so much, and thanks for joining us on the 5th or 6th, I forgot now.
I think
the 6th episode of Ride of Your Life. Bye.